Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 1 in the Hanamonogatari reaction series. I would say part of second season, but in my file set it says it isn't, but it basically is, so it is part of second season. Let's just say that here. So right off the bat, just I guess schedule stuff going forward into Easter. So I'll do one this week. We're going to see what happens around Easter. I still don't know what the family plan is around Easter and when I'm going to see everybody and do that whole shebang. So that'll be fun. My family lives away from me, so I need to travel and not be near my computer to record and do that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens there. I'm going to be guessing that maybe I'll do one episode next week as well, but we'll see. Maybe I can squeeze 2 in. It depends on what work's doing. Anyway, I'll keep you guys in the loop on Discord. Anyway, speaking of Discord, before I jump into comments, because it was basically a comment as well, so last week there was a little bit of frustration around me not realizing why Kaiki thought that his initial plan would work, but upon analyzing the episode the second time and reading through, I understood that. I just didn't put it into video form. Makes it frustrating for you guys and probably something that I should double back on and make sure that I mention. So essentially, for those that don't know, he didn't know anything about Nadeko because nobody knew anything about Nadeko, and from everything that he'd been told, she believed anything. She was very gullible. She was very, not this should have worked. You know what I mean? But because he didn't know anything and because nobody else knew anything as well, it didn't work. And then he had to improvise. That's essentially the plot side of the episode that maybe went over my head initially. But either way, onward and upward with this week's YouTube comments. Or I guess I should say last week's. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Hot Wheels Kid, first comment here. I thought this comment was so good, I even replied to it. I said, great point, you nailed it. I never do that. I never reply to anybody. Without reading the whole thing verbatim, it basically just says that there's a difference between the unreliable narration that Heavy Rain goes for, that I was a little bit critical of in context with some stuff with Kaiki in Koi Monogatari, and what Monogatari is going for, and it's all about framing. So Monogatari, there is a intended audience to hear what Kaiki is saying as the narrator, you know what I mean? Where in something like Heavy Rain, there is no audience involved. I think Hot Wheels Kid says here meta-awareness, which is probably a better term for it. I would agree. So if they're talking to an audience and they're being unreliable, that's a technique. That's great. If they're talking to themselves and being unreliable, they're crazy people and it makes no sense. So there's one small change there that I didn't realize and it changes everything. So that's why Monogatari works and why some random video game from more than 10 years ago now doesn't. Hot Wheels Kid again here. You can read Nadeko's manga. It's called Kimi to Nadeko. It was linked in Discord. I haven't had a chance to have a look yet, but it seemed pretty well done from what it was. Just a little bit of fan servicey stuff. It's pretty fun, Cochin 51. Go back and watch Renai's Circulation now. I think this is in reference to she's at her desk drawing something, or we thought that she was maybe writing something in the past. But yeah, no, it's pretty clear that she's making her little manga there. It's, pretty cute. Monogatari is chock full of stuff like that. So rewatch Monogatari, get more out of Monogatari. I can see why all of you guys do that. This is something that I should say about this week's comments, I guess. There is a few really, really, really long ones. So I'm going to try to summarize them as best I can and not go line by line and analyze. Thank you. I've read them all. They're all very nice and that kind of thing, and add a lot of context to something that I'm sure a lot of people are passionate about. But just in the interest of time, I'm not going to make everybody listen to every word of them. You know what I mean? But I am very thankful, so they are very nice and add a lot to my enjoyment of something that you guys obviously enjoy very much as well. With that being said, back to Fats' comment here. So Fats makes the assertion that Kaiki can probably be said to be a fake, or the real thing pretending to be a fake, which is a twist on what we thought he was in the past. Maybe a fake pretending to be the real thing, which is pretty powerful. This is pretty powerful as well. He wants to put up a little bit of a guise away from his actual good heart right down below. I mean, as I said in episode 4, I believe it was, they lampshaded a lot. Or maybe it was episode 5. It was one of them. When he was talking to Yotsugi. He genuinely had the best interests of Senjugahara at heart pretty much the entire time. Cutting her off from the family, he believed that was what was best. Even Senjo asserts during Nise Monogatari that she believes that the family was doomed to collapse from the start. But gave him a lot of malice for accelerating it. Maybe that was the best thing for her in the end, you know? A little bit of tough love there, and maybe an outside perspective on the whole thing, Senjo being too close. Justifiably so, though. This is probably something I missed as well. I think a couple people brought this up. So when Kaiki starts to talk about a woman that refuses an offer from a god, I keep forgetting that the crab is a crab god, and not just a simple aberration, so that would make a lot of sense there. She did reject the crab in the end and take a lot of that weight on herself. That is what Hitagi Crab is all about. But it has been a while to this point. And yeah, this is where a lot of extra weight, pardon the pun, comes into Hitagi Crab. Kaiki believes she's better off without those emotions, right? That he made the initial choice that, hey, you should take on this crab, you should put all those emotions into this crab. Later, by Job Done, where Senjogahara makes the conscious decision in Hitagi Crab to then take on those emotions of her mother and process them properly and do all that lovely, I guess, emotional maturity stuff that Kaiki didn't think that she was ready for. There's also the idea of Kaiki's go-to lie being about car accidents. Now, in Nisei Monogatari, Kaiki said that the person that assaulted Senjo died in a car crash. Like, it's pretty clear now that maybe he was just fucking lying. Like, he's good at that. Then again, it's probably just a lie to help Senjogahara. Equally so, he's probably so confrontational in a kind of an attempt to let her leave her past behind, not think about Kaiki and move on with this new boy who seemingly is pretty good for her, you know? And again, this is a complete context switch from the narrator, right? When we see it as Araragi, we hate the bloke. When we see it from his perspective, there's all this other extra stuff behind the veil that we missed. It's pretty cool. And then Fats has an interesting theory here as well about Kaiki planning ahead to deceive Sengoku. So he doesn't completely reveal, like initially, that he was, you know, planning this whole thing, but maybe he was in the background. Again, it's a little bit up to interpretation. Did he actually feel sorry? Was he going to go for the heroic thing, save the girl instead of merely deceiving her? There's evidence for this in that, you know, finding out what's in the closet, then giving her more and more money, and then the line about getting the kind of manga writing stuff that she needs to pursue her dream. There's that side of it as well, which is pretty cool. But again, this is just one interpretation. I've seen other people with completely different interpretations of what Kaiki was thinking here that are a little less charitable. So I don't know. It's a cool show. It's up to interpretation. Next comment here by Charles to the Plus. Episode 6 is a personal favorite. And yeah, it feels like Nishio Sin's really writing from the heart here. I agree with that. It feels like he really had something he genuinely wanted to say about life and the human condition and a bunch of other stuff and growing up and coming of age and all these other things, right? He put it into this episode. That feels quite nice. I was a little bit critical of it being a little bit too writerly and not having enough plot momentum going on. But again, it's the end of an arc, you know? You say your thesis. You say what you wanted to mean by writing the rest of what you wrote, you know? Yeah, it looked like she was studying, but she was actually writing her little manga, of course. As I said before, the woman he knew, most definitely Senjogahara, with that crab god. As I thought, the snake on that kid is from back in Bake. It's the one that Uno reversed from Nadeko back to its original cursor. So it's a little bit of a coincidence. Araragi felt so bad about that, up to the point where it was basically the opening scene of that arc from memory, right? That him feeling bad about what happened, and then that kind of just butterfly effect into Kaiki's death, we'll say. But yeah, it's crazy stuff, I guess. Coincidences in that. And yes, ironic that right after he did something good and honest, the consequences of his past deceit finally caught up with him. Next comment here by Justin Light. On point analysis and great review as always. Thank you. Put my thoughts better than I can. I don't know. I'm trying. I try my best, and I'm happy for the compliments. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of other people in the comments can do a way better job of me than explaining something that I've just viewed for the first time. Justin agrees with Hanakawa at this time code. Nadeko didn't fall in love with Araragi. She fell in love with the kind of idea of Araragi, if that makes any sense, right? And as an expert in falling in love with Araragi, I'm sure she would know all about that. Again, calling out this is one of the favorite episodes. Koi is also Justin's favorite arc, even though he prefers the novel experience. Even noting that, yeah, it became a little bit of Nishio Sin self-projection at a certain point, you know. Some random thoughts about Kaiki's character, con man specialist. Again, in its deliberate attempt to be real, it's more real than the real thing. Kaiki considers himself an antagonist who helps and fulfills other people's problems and wishes with fakes and lies. Oh yeah, the dead tree stuff as well, right? And how that links into Araragi as the sapling. That's very interesting now, isn't it? Huh. Like Araragi being this young tree, right? This young sapling, having the choice, being that stage in his life where he can make these decisions. That's pretty cool. Kaiki does have a little bit of a special connection with Nadeko in that she's a fake as well. She's been nothing but a fake. If she has been lying to everybody, what has she been doing, A little bit of stuff here about the relationship with Senjogahara. I think there's stuff around, did she actually love him? Was she in love with the idea of him? Was there anything there? Was she trying to trick him? There's all sorts of interpretations you can make there. I'm firmly falling the camp that she was in love, right? At a certain point. I mean, she was like 15 or something, right? So it only makes sense. So you can't really trust your feelings at that age, is my point. And yeah, maybe Kaiki taking some learnings from this Senjogahara stuff and using them with Nadeko. That is a take as well, I think. Again, there's huge connections between Araragi and Kaiki, right? Especially with how Araragi to Nadeko, Kaiki to Senjogahara. There's some stuff there for sure. Letting them go as well, moving on to better things. So yeah, after all this, and we go back to this here, right? Like, this is incorrect. You've done a great job. You've done a way better job than me. You've got it actually like organized and stuff. I just stream of consciousness out I just babble garbage, and you've done a way better job here than I ever could. Next comment here by Gian Bueno. His longest comment to date. Oh my. Some stuff with Hanakawa and Nadeko. Yeah, Hanakawa can definitely understand Nadeko and her point of view more than anybody else, I believe, even up to and including the point where there's an aberration involved in kind of a coping mechanism for what happened with Araragi, right? Gian agrees with me in that Kaiki and Senjogahara's relationship, she fell for him, and Kaiki was never in love with her. Thankfully, since the age gap and stuff, it is okay for the ages to go up. Not so okay for the 30-year-old to fall in love with the 16-year-old. That's not as great. But yeah, Kaiki definitely did relate to her, right? When she was afflicted by the crab, she was an emotionless, cynical, and sarcastic lady unable to shoulder, or more specifically, care about any of her problems. That's Kaiki, right? And yeah, did not go after the crab, and instead went after the situation around the crab, right? Resulting in some amount of hatred towards him and I guess... despisement. What would you say there? Anyway, he made sure that he wasn't liked, and that's kind of part of the point. Kind of, he's doing his whole tsundere thing. He doesn't want to be loved and all that jazz. He kind of wants to sneak away from the situation and not be involved as much as maybe somebody that more heroic would, right? He's maintaining this facade that he's like this bad bloke, And yeah, continuing to go into parallels between the way he acted on the Nadeko case and the Senjogahara case and the stuff he learned and the stuff he changed as well. There's some interesting stuff here about the stuff that is added in by kind of Kaiki to these conversations between him and Senjogahara, where again, a lot of it's up to interpretation and personal opinion. So what was he doing if he didn't like Senjogahara about the color of her underwear, feeling of a high school girl doing everything he wants, blah, 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 like all this little teasing and flirting back and forth, right? What was the deal with that then? And then, yeah, apparently some Redditors don't understand some nuance. That's a new one. Jesus. Don't go on Reddit if you want to maintain your sanity, by the way. Like, random tangent aside, like, r/anime, dude, it's terrible, man. Don't go on there. It's terrible. I mean, certain corners of it are okay. If you're in those rewatch threads, they go pretty hard. But other than that, I would steer clear. Mononoke's role in Monogatari is pretty cool as somebody that just kind of speaks her mind, where Monogatari is a lot about perspective and telling the right information when, and withholding things and lying and truth. They just have this character that is unable to do any of that and just kind of speaks whatever she wants. I think her role in the story, opposite Kaiki in this arc, was pretty well done. I love how Kaiki just throws away his plan immediately and shifts. He works on the go and kind of puts together some actual genuine advice for Nadeko. Again, allegedly out of nowhere, right? This was another great moment when Nadeko immediately stops the God Act upon hearing about the manga in the closet. And yeah, like instead of she has this army of snakes, she goes down and like punches him like this, like and kicks him in the head, you know, like completely rejecting this godlike power that she has, right? I thought that was a pretty good touch as well. His victory came through when he stopped trying to fix their problems and focused on the person themselves, both for basically everybody else's problems, right? That's maybe a way to problem solve in real life too, right? Actually, maybe focus on what the internal root of the problem is. Maybe that would be good advice. I think. I'm sure, there's more and more stuff about Nadeko and little manga references throughout. Generally leaning retro kind of 80s stuff. Think about the opening for this for that arc as well. That makes a lot of sense now. And yeah, this is kind of the stuff I'll get into in a second about where I think the timeline's going now that we're in Hanamonogatari. But one thing really stuck in the mind, it's everyone seems to be leaving him. So Meme left town, we knew that. Hanakawa left town and is going a trip around the globe. That's something we learned in Koi Monogatari. Hachikuji is passed on. This is something we learned in Oni Monogatari. He has to leave Nadeko's side for Nadeko to persist, basically, right? That's the whole point of Koi Monogatari as well. And then, yeah, Kaiki's missing, allegedly. Maybe they know he's dead, I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty justifiable that people are actually leaving him behind. And yeah, thanks for the comment there, Gian. A couple short ones now, which are nice. G-Bird, love Nadeko and Kaiki's relationship. Yeah, their conversation there at the end of 6 was quite poignant, I will say. MC Steve, I've actually, I mean, this is badly thinged, right? But this guy's pretty based. I was just reading up on this, right? He like wrote a bunch of shit and is like an absolute trailblazer for manga. I had no idea about his stuff, right? That's pretty cool. I just looked that up now. I thought that was quite neat. Yeah, Osamu Tezuka. Nice. I like that. And yeah, the relevance here is the whole God of Manga line in episode 6 as well. Simon explaining why it was a slug, Japanese folk rock, paper, scissors or something. Kind of, yeah, a little bit of this, right? One's greater than the other and kind of in a circle, right? If I'm going to say it's all Guyan's plan every single time, Guyan very fast becomes a terrible person for letting all these bad things happen. I mean, she doesn't know everything. Like, that's her whole thing, right? We'll see. We'll see about Guyan. She's got some stuff going on. Clearly, she seems like the better side than Augie. Augie seems bad news. I mean, that's a pretty obvious one, though. And yeah, just a little bit of extra stuff. I haven't seen Naruto, so I didn't get this side of it. And yeah, this is Saint Yu. Gotta say Saint Yu. Next comment here by Benjamin Lee. With the upload, I just upload whenever, it's fine. Like, don't try to catch the videos live. There's no point in that, right? Especially if you live in Melbourne. Don't get up at 5 to watch the videos. It's terrible. I don't want to get up at 5. The Hanakawa Oshino comparison mentioned early in episode 5. Who else has slept in the cram school, right? That makes a lot of sense. I like that. I noticed when Senjo stumbled upon saying, "I'm going to keep hating you," and she actually stumbled on the word for hate. Guessing maybe a kirai or something, right? Which supports the implications more. Again, that one's a pretty obvious one, especially when it's in the subbing, you can definitely tell. And yeah, diving into our philosophy bag a little bit with the line, wishes don't come true if you speak them loud because words are deceiving, especially in contrast with Monogatari and it being a written medium that this originally was in and the audience reading it, and there's a whole bunch of stuff to that, right? You could, and yeah, Benjamin does, you can go pretty deep on that. Next comment here by Dharma and Mancia, kind of again going into a couple things that we've already talked about, kind of words deceiving, maybe Sengoku's wish is it won't come true because she's vocalized it, right? But again, that plan didn't work and we had to immediately kind of switch gear into what was in the closet. Town is just a big chessboard for Augie and Guyan to play. We're just the audience and all the other characters are the pawns, right? Again, we're going to eventually dive in deeper into that, right? Those two are seemingly very, very, very important to what we have going on, right? Season 2 has its ups and downs. Otori and Koi are my favorite arcs, but the best arc is yet to come in the future. Excited to keep watching. Okay, interesting. It's nice to know there's more good stuff coming. I mean, of course there is. Like, I haven't heard about a drop-off in this show, so I'm just going to keep watching. It's been really, really good up to now. Yeah, I've said in the past, probably these are my 2 picks. I really like Neko Shiro too, because I'm a Hanakawa simp. And yeah, last comment here by Protector of Ruby, 10 hours ago, so just got in time. Koi is one of their favorite arcs. Kaiki is an interesting and nuanced character. Slightly below Augie and Guyan in terms of narrative implications, but it says a lot about Monogatari that we have the third most interesting character is more interesting than the characters in a lot of other shows, right? Again, Monogatari puts the bar pretty high. You saw how much people wrote for 2 episodes of content, right? This is clearly like, and I think they're only barely scratching the surface, right? That's how broad we're talking with a lot of this stuff too, and how many ideas they're cramming in. And again, I've been talking now for half an hour about the comments, so I better move on to something else. I don't have as much to say because there's no recap or anything, right? We're diving into a new arc now, Hanamonogatari. So here, normally I'd look up a key visual and do all that stuff, but the way people explain it, it's kind of tangential to second season anyway, so I don't think there's any need to dive in too deep on that side of it. One thing we can talk about is Hanamonogatari is a word, Hana meaning flower. I'm pretty sure this is where we're going. I can't see anything that Hanamono means, but I could be wrong there. Flower story. Flower story. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe I'm completely wrong there because I don't speak Japanese. So it could just be incorrect, and then's the breaks, basically. So here I'm going to talk about Hanamonogatari in context with second season. The way I understand it is the novels go... There's a point in second season where this is supposed to go in novel order-wise, right? And that's why some people were talking about putting it between a couple of different arcs previously, because that would have made sense in more of a novel order as opposed to the anime watch order chronologically. And from the way that people had been talking about it, I think it has to do with August stuff. So a lot of my predictions here are going to be related to August stuff, so if I'm just wrong there, I'm just wrong. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? So first off, August, Kambaru. I'm starving for Kambaru content, so please feed me Kambaru's presence on screen. I need it or I will die. So I'm really praying for some of that, right? Okay, so Gai Nezuko, episode Yotsugi, they're all teaming up. Gai Nezuko's got some kind of plan. Araragi's been roped in as of the end of Oni Monogatari, right? I don't remember what they're trying to do, but we'll dive in here. I'm sure it'll become clear pretty obviously, right? A lot of this second season stuff will link into this in satisfying ways. A lot of the content of that season, up to and including the first part of it in Neko Shiro, is revolving around these events. So we finally get to see them play out. The way I understand it, Shinobu is still separated from Araragi at this time. Think of the part in Neko Shiro where Shinobu is having a chat with Hanakawa. So clearly they're still not reconnected, you know what I mean, right? So again, we'll see. Like, that could happen very soon, or we could skip past that part, or I don't know. There's going to be some kind of confrontation with Kambaru at the cram school at a certain point, and then it's going to burn down. That is something we have to watch. Hachikuji's fucking dead, so that may be on Araragi's mind as well. That has happened very recently. Other than that, I don't really know. We'll see what manifests. Surely something relatively entertaining, you would think, right? And yeah, after talking, again, for way too long, I'm going to jump into the episode, but not before I do my show stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I can do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back. And the Discord, join Discord right in that new channel on Discord, this kind of seasonals request poll thing, channel, place, thing. Basically, when I get some spare time, I know, like a pipe dream, but I'm going to try to check out some first episodes of seasonals and that kind of thing. So if you have any stuff you're particularly passionate about, I've know a few first episodes are out as of recording this that are considered quite good. I've heard some buzz, so if you want me to check them out, write it in the channel. But other than that, diving into the first episode of Hanamonogatari right now. Rightio, got episode 1 of Hanamonogatari up here ready to go. Let me pop that up on screen there. 27 minutes and 12 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly. As always, picture-in-picture in the description below, as well as using the Call Girl subs. And yeah, just going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Rightio? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, text on screen that I can't read yet. That was a very quick chapter. Who is talking? Voice? Oh, I know Saruga. Okay, I need to actually focus on reading. You reckon? I would never say that. This mother seems... Yeah, confused me. Yep, I remember that. I mean, people change. Okay. Living in the place of God. Okay. Spinning tops? Okay. Akuma. Interesting. Gaian Toy. She seems like a really nice mother. What's up? Yes. Also, Kambaru's back. Oh, yeah, right. She must be running through some tape, right? Every night. Yep. What are we doing? What are we up to? I didn't commit any crimes yesterday. Yeah, they're a little bit long. I don't know how you're going to find anything, right? What was that? That went so quick. I mean, all the other girls are cutting their hair. What? To cut it or not? Squishy. Pause. This music's incredible, by the way. Interesting. We're going pretty hard these past few on the dialogue, right? I mean, Aragi will just clean it up. Why? Whoa, that's a crazy shot. That's really pretty too. Why are they no longer there? Oh, use of 3D, but also this is like her original opening as well. It's also like Kuroko no Basket shit. Like what the fuck? Uh, who is this? This is adorable. I didn't expect that. Okay. This opening's really great. This is a standout. Like from the song to the visuals. But who's this other character? What a jump. This feels like a different show. But it's so it's equally fucking metal. Like this feels so sports, right? Something almost shonen about it. Whoa. Suruga Devil. Well, I mean, a Kambaru arc, that's good. The devil part doesn't sound good. Wait, what? So when is this? Oh, great. Um, in the boys' uniform? Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna touch this. I don't trust any version of Augie, so sick jump. Uh bikes don't work that way. Well, certain bikes do actually. The running animation's nice too. Whatever you say. Well, yeah, I mean that's just true. Very interestingly framed scene. I mean, it's just true. I think, right? But you always do have a reason. Me too? What did you mean by this? Sir Devil? We're going through them chapters. Sounds like you need to get over it. I wonder what they're up to, though. I mean, they've only recently graduated. You reckon? Well, he wouldn't write his own name. Me with all my mates. Veruga for Suruga. Okay. I like her hair. Okay. This feels like a different show. It really does. I mean, she is. How does she know? What? What are we saying that as? Akuma-san? I was told by Augie, who seems to be pulling the strings. Okay. This is like some Hanako-kun shit. I have to act. What do you mean by this? Oh, because your thing may have awakened, right? I see. Okay, that doesn't mean it's not serious, though. Okay. Leading. That's another big hint, right? And we're calling the arc Saruga Devil. You got the hand. The long shadows. Well, maybe. What do you mean? What happened? Oh, Karen. Okay. Yeah, still doing the Fire Sister bag. That'd be cool. I mean, it isn't. Okay. All right. As opposed to the whole Kaiki situation, right? Why is she sleeping on her brother's bed? What do you mean by this? Tsuruga-san. Maybe you should. God, that was so fast. Okay. Well, what decision are we going to make? Okay. Okay. Normal mode. Just call the devil on the phone. Number 666. Okay. Okay. Little bee in the corner too is quite cute. Whoa, the audio there. Okay. I'm imagining this may be the girl from the opening, right? Yeah, you chose the hardest way. There's something in that, right? Those flower petals? Two? Yeah. So one faces you face to face. Huh. So no one ever meets you directly. Yeah. The aberration. Okay, got crutches and a leg. Kind of like Kambaru's arm. Right, the amount of riddles they're talking in. Yeah, yeah, it's that girl from the opening. Interesting. Yuri lilies? I like her hair a lot. Oh! From Koi! Remembered? Interesting. But then she did an ACL or something? Something in that, surely? you'd think. Yeah, your left leg. No, I have like a big furry arm. You wouldn't understand. She was forced to retire. Oh. Instead, you're moonlighting as a devil. How bad is the leg? I guess it may be like a devil leg or something. Akuma-sama? Just bored. Well, the Sir Devil thing is kind of like a job, right? How do you eat, by the way? Then how do you eat? How do you eat? Oh, I guess. As opposed to like even an Oshino Meme, right? He charged money. I remember that. What? Facing different ways on these staircases too. That was kind of freaky frame. It's for me. All right. I mean, you're helping people, right? But how do you help people? I don't know if that's particularly healthy. Shouldn't you help people with a better reason than that? I guess you're still helping people. Seems like you're having a little bit of a pity party, but that's okay. What am I looking at? Oh yeah, it's a bunch of like uh you know scoopers. I don't know. Like, listen, it's not my area of expertise. It's kind of mirroring the Tori from the previous arc, kind of. Bang. That wouldn't tickle. She's a strong girl. Yeah, it's just a bit of fun. Okay, it's less serious than we thought. You're helping them. S- Stuff about intent here a lot. Okay. Whatever you say. Then how do they even know? But you're just accumulating other people's problems. Oh. Good old titty grab? Yeah. Well, I'm curious about the leg, right? Well, for little worries, right? Interesting. She's an interesting character. Probably a lot informed by that previous basketball stuff, right? A sea of sand, too. Gonna let go, or sure, go off, I guess. It's beyond my comprehension right now, too, but I'm sure it'll make sense in time. Walking backwards is pretty good. Music's really pretty again, too. Okay. Goodbye. Gonna need to reread that. I mean, that's a positive, right? This is very pretty. The colors, they're popping off. An element of trust in yourself, right? And that other side of yourself. Oh no, you told me, Kambar. I mean, who'd you send that to? Gonna get a response? Count me in. Is that a Araragi, maybe? That sounds like an Araragi response. Hmm. Whatever you say. Is this the next morning? Oh, there's my nail clippers. Well, that's good. But hey, my arm's gone, right? That's my left arm. Yeah. was normal. Huh. My worries, right? Interesting, and here's our ED. A lot of that went straight over my head. I'm looking forward to having another read and seeing what I can grab. But I'm going to imagine that I'll need to write down a lot of this kind of stuff and keep it in mind for future events. Because we are very firmly in the ideas phase. You know what I mean? Alright, how about this ED? So pretty clearly Kambaru POV as well. So as well as it being her named arc. Is that dancing? Alright, that's cute. I like that. I thought that she was flossing there, and I'm like, what the hell? Is this so what am I looking? These like pieces of film or like a train or I think the spinning, but that's a train. Anyway, whatever. Maybe it's both. Clearly seems I'm on point about this whole Hanamonogatari flower thing though, which is nice. And then preview? No preview. I don't know what to do with myself. Either way, analysis coming shortly, I guess. So I think this is the first place I want to go, and we're going to places I didn't even know existed, like past here. So this is definitely like March now, right? We can say that. So we can change this to this for a start, right? That they didn't die. That's fine. That's good. They didn't die. But now we go to uncharted territory and we write the word April. I didn't even know this would happen. This is crazy. And yeah, just bear with me as I write a little bit of a summary of what kind of happened plot-wise that episode before we reread a lot of the dialogue and dive into some ideas, I guess. But I think the most obvious thing I should say to start, I guess, is that this didn't happen in August, like I thought. Are we ever going to get August, or is that just inferred to have happened and we got to piece in the details? Because I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to do some stuff like that. Maybe we'll dive into it a little bit further into the arc, but yeah, this is unexpected. This is something else entirely to do with Kambaru. More of a focus, I guess, on her mother and that side of it. Again, I'm rambling. I should write some stuff. I think that's just about it. I guess I'll highlight it in red as I do. I haven't unhighlighted the rest, though. Cool. Kambaru wakes up and goes to school, clearly missing Senjo/Araragi as they have graduated. So this is what places it here. April, if we want to get specific, I think it's April 9th/10th. If we wanted to get that granular about it. Augie boy form, I don't know what's going on there, but sure, shows up and gets the plot moving by suggesting that Kambaru investigates the Sir Devil that has been helping people lately. Augie has a knack for doing stuff like this and getting the plot moving and making sure that certain people do certain things at certain times, and it's getting really freaky and I don't like it. That kind of vibe, I guess. Kambaru meets with the Sir Devil, which I've got with a little kind of hyphen between for some reason, I don't know, who is none other than Numachi Roka, I believe that's her name, but I will check. Her old rival in basketball and the like. They clearly have past relationship. I don't know how strong it was. I don't know how much the opening is implying there. I don't know if it's merely metaphorical. Numachi grabs her titty and talks about what she does for a while, about worries and listening to people and not exactly solving their problems, but the problems still go away. So clearly there's some kind of stuff going on there, right? Something a little bit supernatural, I guess. Yeah, Kambaru wakes up the next day. No monkey's paw. Again, I know it's not a monkey's paw, but you know what I mean. One of her major worries of the episode, probably her first major worry as soon as the events of April 9th take place, I guess. So I want to talk about Numachi Roka just while I'm thinking about it, right? So the reason I knew that name is because Kaiki mentions it in Koi Monogatari very, very recently. And I wanted to have a quick look at what he had to say about her. I believe it was in episode 5, just bear with me. Yeah, here it is here. I happened to come across an acquaintance, a girl named Numachi Roka. I met the child several years ago in a different town. To think she was now a resident of this town. That was information that may come in handy someday, as he kind of looks into the camera. That's funny. For instance, in the future, when I become acquainted with Kambaru Saruga. Interesting. So yeah, okay. Huh. And when was this? This was in... He's talking right now in like February, right? I think. And again, January, February, whatever. Yeah, interesting. Okay, clearly maybe like a little bit of a... Just like a teaser, I guess. I'm not really... I forgot I didn't have my camera on. Yeah, like kind of a teaser, right? So what does this mean? It means that she's had a foot in occultish stuff through association with Kaiki for a while. Can we imply there's some kind of Kaiki connection to what has happened with her leg? Whatever her leg may be, right? Is it similar to Kambaru's? Is it an aberration? Did Kaiki try to swindle her out of some money in kind of the promise of fixing her leg? I don't know. A girl I met a while ago, seemingly the meeting that they had today wasn't... There was no animosity there. At least he doesn't mention as such, right? Clearly it was just kind of like a catching up. And again, like this in this episode is clearly just a wink and a nudge as to what's happening next, right? But I just find it interesting that the Kaiki's involved somehow, right? Interesting. But in totality, what did I think of the episode? Again, a lot went over my head. I think aesthetically, it's so very, very strong. Like the colors are fantastic this episode, especially the kind of contrast between school and those scenes at the end, the deep purples and oranges and reds of the sunset as she goes to sleep at the end of that day. I thought that was quite nice. The music was killer. So aesthetically, they're killing it so far. I wonder, it feels like a different show again, you know what I mean? It feels like we're going in a completely different direction. I wonder how much of the opening is indicative of how the rest will play out. I'm going to imagine not very, because that isn't typically their bag, but I kind of want to see a show like that. Gives me almost Liz and the Bluebird vibes, right? As well as like that kind of fierce, almost shonen-esque rivalry between the two, so... Again, we're going to see if that continues. Going to see if Kambaru is a particularly important person to Numachi Roka. Yeah, clearly we're just setting some stuff up. I haven't even dived into all the stuff about the mom, kind of the dialogue there from Gaian Toy, I guess we're calling her. Yeah, all in all, intrigued, I guess I would say. Would love to watch another episode, but unfortunately, no time today. Sucks. And yeah, we start with a ton of dialogue, so bear with me here as I try to pause and read it all. Okay, first thing we say, right? I would rather like to talk about how Kambaru Saruga is pretty stupid, but I wonder if you would listen to me. Well, I don't think this story has a point. None at all. In my time, I've come to hate many people, to detest many people. I found a devil inside myself and made him grow. But I still wondered what others did in their lives. Now I'll tell you my story and hers. Please let me share it. I know that I live stupidly. Well, I mean, it's been comedic in the past, but yeah, you kind of do. I'm imagining this is Kambaru narrating. How? Do you live, I wonder? How do I live? Pretty stupidly as well, if all these corrections are any indicator. But anyway. Yeah, so very interesting there is we're keeping our kind of chapter structure, right? So that was one chapter. So clearly the first chapter in the novel is some self-introduction stuff. Like, this is setting up what the book is going to be about, you know? So yeah, interesting. And now we get a lot of dialogue from the mother. Seemingly pretty cheerful old mother from the dialogue we read will say, if you can't be a cure, be a poison. Okay, so first line, think about this in context with what Numachi Roka's doing, and there's a lot you could pull already, right? Like contrast, right? Like, so, okay, if you can't be a cure, clearly I can't be the cure, I can't be the hero, I've got this leg injury, I'm down on myself, blah, 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 blah. Be a poison. She's taking a different approach, seemingly so far, and just taking other people's worries on board and fixing them, essentially. Again, I think there's some supernatural stuff afoot there, but I don't know. There's a lot here already off one line. I really don't want to go in this deep on everything, so I need to get some momentum. My mum used to say stuff like that. I don't think you could call my mum a good one. I would agree. Saruga, your life is going to be a bit shit, basically. I think she was a bit eccentric. But that isn't because you're special, it's because you're weak. You will live your entire life bearing that weakness. Weakness, strength, worries, curing worries. Again, we're starting with our Monogatari classic kind of contradictions there. I hope you won't make the fact that everything is a pain in the ass your purpose in life. I hope you get around that. She loved to say things that would confuse people, the audience included. I feel like to her I was just that little thing over there and nothing more. She didn't really care much about you, huh? She seems like a bit of a shit mum, I'm gonna be honest. She seems suspect. A little bit of the backstory here, both the parents die, grandparents take her in on the dad's side, so not on the mum's side. So there's not that association with Gaian's family there, I guess. Guy and Izuko, that being. I never understood what my dad saw in someone like that. Maybe she was hot, I don't know. Like, men are pretty basic. Rather, it's not a question of why he fell in love with her, but why she went as far as to run away to marry my father. Run away from her family. Interesting. My dad used to say that girl is living in place of God. Then we have some God devil stuff contradictions as well. Lots of spinning as an idea in this opening sequence as well. Lots of spinning tops, spinning wheels, spinning whatever the hell I'm looking at here. Some kind of constant, almost eerie motion there. You were already cursed when you turned out to be my daughter. It's very cheery. If I consider you cute, that's not because I actually want to, it's just my role as the mother? Is this still the mother's lines here? Because I'm forced to by God. She was like a devil. Well, I mean, she seems like a devil to me. She seems like a shit mom. Hasn't mommy issues been like a huge thing in the show so far, right? Think about it. Aragi's got mommy issues. Hanakawa has parental issues. Senjugahara has mommy issues. Hachikuji had rip in peace, by the way. She had mummy issues. I'm sure I'm missing some as well. Like, there's lots of stuff there, right? Lots of parents versus children versus, the impact there versus growing up and coming to terms with it, right? Huge theme in the show. So the mother considers gods and devils to be the same thing. No matter how you try to dress it, the fact is humans are their toys. Now, this line made me think of Augie and Gaian and that whole bag, right? Especially with that line, I think it was Dharma Amancia said that they're kind of like pawns on the chessboard, right? Every other character in the show compared to them. Yeah, these disorienting shots, the waves of the sea, the motion, the eeriness, the music, it's unsettling. It builds up to that kind of feeling from me. Clearly a nightmare of Kambaro when we wake up with her in the next scene. Yeah, leading to kind of an open question and then wake the hell up, you stupid girl. It's time for your fun new quarter at school. It is. It's graduation. The seniors have graduated and yeah, she's officially a senior. Yeah, 9th of April, there's the confirmation there of the date. And the first thing we see is that she's still tying her arm to, I guess, a part of her room, right? Not trusting that she still won't turn monstrous and something bad will happen, blah, 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 blah. Especially without the safety net of somebody like an Araragi or Senjugahara around to fix things. I must say, it is just great to have her back. She is a different Kambaru, seeing that she's, away from Araragi. She's less goofy, I guess. She's got some more serious stuff going on. But yeah, it's nice to have her back. She's one of my favorites, I think, right? I really like Kumbara. I think she's really funny. Not that she's been funny so far, but you know what I mean. I guess this is a reveal as well that she has been tying her arm up this entire time. Again, worrying, not trusting, getting poor sleep as a result, maybe. The room is a wreck, but I guess it always is. There's still some baggage going on with Kumbaro. That's basically what we're trying to say here. She's even in this state still quoting lines that her mother may say about what's been going on. As we see here, the arm is still clearly there, contrasting the end of the episode where it's gone. This is where I wanted to shout out the music, this kind of calming track, especially after that kind of eerie, unsettling opening to the episode. Definitely a standout. The opening is killer, but we're going to get into it. Yeah, just nice. Peaceful. The track again at the end when the kind of sun setting and all that, just killer. Just really, really nice stuff. Almost like not unexpected of Monogatari, of course, but it's unexpected. Like it feels almost KyoAni, It feels like that type of stuff, that kind of beauty, It doesn't feel Shaft to me. It's a weird one. I don't know. I don't quite know how to put it into words, but it feels different, this arc of the show, I guess. I'm good. Looks like I didn't commit crimes yesterday. She was reading the paper to check. The nails will come back at the end of the episode as well. Kind of the connective tissue between kind of the arm being there and the arm not being there. And yeah, of course, she can't find the nail clippers because, it's her room, it's pretty messy. Again, those are all BL novels, by the way. If you really try, you can cut your nails with scissors. You can if they're sharp enough. I've done that in the past. I haven't done that for years, though. Part of me thinks I should just cut it all off in reference to the hair. Kind of a weird one in reference to the rest of the show, where a lot of the girls have cut their hair, sometimes signifying character changes and that kind of thing as well. So maybe a little bit of funny fourth wall stuff there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if she cuts her hair by the end, I guess. She calls herself squishy and indecisive. Don't know about the squishy part. I don't have touch or vision. I can't really tell you. But she definitely is indecisive. That's been a character trait from the very start. Maybe I should call myself greedy. I want everything and I lose everything. I am greed and I love Symphogear. You lost everything, right? You lost to old mate. Fucking Araragi, we hate that guy. Start out with everything and end up with nothing. That is the life I, Kambaru Saruga, lead. I know I'm going into pretty heavy detail in these opening scenes, but I feel like they're really strong. I feel like it's some really strong stuff. Gets to thinking about how Symphogear and Araragi may be mad at her messy room, but then I realize the senpai I love can never get mad at me again. And why is that? Because both of them have graduated. It is April. Again, this is insane to me. I thought we would never get this far. I still feel their presence, but it's merely an illusion. I laugh bitterly at my inability to give them up and head for school, towards the school where they're no longer there. And again, like this is a gorgeous frame, man. Like great background, the kind of fading into the back, giving it that nice bit of depth. The light either side, almost heavenly. The only path forward is ahead. This is brilliant. This may straight up be one of my favorite episodes, right? I know I'm saying a lot very early, but even the stuff with Namachi later on is pretty strong. So, and this starting stuff is goddamn compelling. It's so good. And speaking of compelling, we have a new opening to read. So I'll read the lyrics here and try to give my thoughts on the visuals as it's happening as well. The song's great. I just want to say that straight off the bat before we do anything else. Yeah, this is where I'm getting like sports anime vibes. I'm getting like Kuroko no Basket. I'm getting like some Haikyuu stuff, you know. And yeah, they've got lilies in the background. I think they're still lilies. It makes sense for Kambaru for them to be lilies, and well, we've seen the opening for it to be lilies, right? Oh, and I need to do a little bit of this. Hang on. Look it up here. Yeah, let's do that. Why do I feel a lump in my chest? I mean, she was grabbing a lump on your chest before. Is that the same thing? Yeah, I would watch an anime about these two, like already. Like I already love them. I don't know what to say. It's growing to the point where it's starting to worry me, that lump in my chest. They say I'm free, yet I'm not. We have this, I guess, high tempo rock song playing. We get different kind of transitions. They're both sharing an earphone, looking over the city at night. Can't help but think romantic thoughts, no? But I remain halfway hopeful. It's a little, got the arm on the shoulder there, a little smooch maybe? Hold up. And then, yeah, the last day of my adolescence, guessing that's the name of the opening. And then, yeah, it kind of goes to this harder rock style, kind of shoutier vocals in this part of the song, I guess, kind of contrasting the first part there, right? Which is a little more sweet, a little more, dare I say generic, but you know what I mean, right? Also, yeah, I mean, coinciding with kind of some rocks in the relationship built between the two in the opening. The answer I'm longing for still binds me, and I remain fearful that I may get swept up. Still binds me, still wrap around the arm, maybe. The reveal of, I guess, the crutch and the leg and that side of it, right? So is this in the past? Is this the relationship that they maybe shared, and then this is where it's turned to? Was there an ugly kind of separation there? Is there more history here than we're letting on? Or is the opening merely a little bit more poetic than that? I guess we're going to have to wait and see. The answer that I'm longing for still binds me, and I remain fearful that I may get swept up in the whirlwind of pain and sadness. With all these feelings I've bottled up, I see the petals falling without you. As we see the two have separated, Kambaru is clearly grown up a little bit, the hair's longer, that kind of bag, right? And bury my emotions. And then we hit that chorus. Same road I'm running down now that I've grown up a little bit. I need a place where I can shout out the voice of my heart alone. Okay, another thing, right? A lot of these openings have been about Araragi by proxy, right? This is clearly not, right? This is cool. I love that this is like completely, like, Araragi's not even involved here at all. That's probably why it feels so different, right? So at least, okay, when we've done other POV stuff, we've done kind of Hanakawa POV, we've done Kaiki POV. It's still been Araragi adjacent, right? He's seemingly like gone off somewhere else, right? He's graduated, he's doing prep work for the next stage, right? That kind of stuff. That's why it feels so different. That's really cool. Yeah, these same locations from earlier, we're running back through it, maybe trying to mend this relationship. And we have Numachi walking through this kind of row of lily flowers as well. I'll run there as she's running as well. I'll cut through all the nonsense as we see these two facing off. Clearly, a little bit more of a dream sequence. They were former rivals in basketball. This certainly makes sense. But yeah, again, it's more of a metaphor for them. Again, coming to terms with stuff. Again, they've got a bit of history, and we got to dive into that, right? I'll cut through all the nonsense getting in the way. I'll be myself, gather up the courage I can, and reach for my dreams. Then a really, really harsh guitar noise. I'm guessing somebody's just like pulling strings or something. As we end, like a really abrupt end to what was, again, a very youthful song, I would say. And the flower petals, flowers opening on the basketball court, silhouetted, dark. Yeah, fantastic opening, like 10 out of 10 material stuff. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And Saruga Devil. Okay, so far, the devil part of it has been to do with Numachi Roka, but devil and god and the mother and that kind of bag is related as well to it. So we're gonna see. So this is a lot for the audience and really helped me, just setting the tone. They've graduated. I'm in my last year. This is in April. Make sure you know it's in April, otherwise this won't make sense. Yeah, I do like the images of kind of the empty school kind of emphasizing that though, right? It feels like something's missing. I'm in my last year of high school and all alone. But au contraire, you are not all alone. There is somebody that is watching you. Ohayo, Ogi-kun. Ogi-kun? What's going on there? Also, I should probably move myself back down now that I think about it. There you go. We're back. Yeah. Augie's a boy? We're wearing boys' clothes now? I don't really understand that, but sure, pop off, I guess. Yeah, see, even Kambara is confused. It's not just me. The weird part is that the I've always been a boy. It's like, well, I mean, I'm the audience, and clearly you haven't. You've been wearing, again, I mean, we don't want to. You can wear whatever you want. I don't know what Augie's gender is. Pop off, like dress however you want. But I always thought that she was a girl anyway. Niece. It was Oshino's niece. So a lot of other people thought the same anyway. I don't know. It's very different performance here from Kambara's VA. I've forgotten her name. But yeah, it's a lot more mature. It's less comedic, it's less shouty, it's less excited, like she is around Araragi. A lot of interesting stuff here about what way the bike's going, what way we're walking. It's repeated at the end of the episode when Kambara is walking backwards away from Numachi there. Some stuff about the Japanese mistake past. There's some stuff there, right? It's got a really negative connotation to that prefix, right? Wait, no, I was wrong there. It's the word for future begins with a negative prefix. Okay, never mind. But yeah, person's past and future both negative. Again, Augie talks in riddles. The most important part of this scene is the stuff around Devil-san, right? Or Sir Devil, whatever it's called. Akuma-san, I think it is, right? We'll say. Yeah, this stuff, it's very deliberate, like an idea, right? Walking back Augie, right? Very like strong hands on hips posed by Kambaru. It's obviously this will come back, right, once we get some more stuff about Augie, right? But there's stuff going on in the dialogue, there's stuff going on in the people moving in the scene. Both need to be analyzed, but I don't have the ammunition to do so yet in a satisfying way for me. They kind of lampshaded a little bit, but yes, the only time Augie talks to people is when they're trying to start something, essentially, right? If you see Augie show up and say, hey, and then they say, did you hear about blank? Or you should go to Araragi's drawer and swallow this thing. Or, how about traffic lights, huh? Like, it's clearly leading into something, right? That's the only time they ever show up. And there it is. You heard about the rumors of Sir Devil? There was a few pinwheels we saw as well. Again, that spinning idea, I guess. Spinning in place. There's something there. Again, Kambara is feeling all nostalgic, sitting at the same desk, probably Senjugahara's, considering she's doodled Araragi's name. It's also the same classroom we saw Araragi sit in. Was it Araragi? No, was it? Somebody had a chat with Black Hanakawa in here, I remember. It's the similar classroom used. Higasa, I wonder if she'll come back. She's just seemingly a character to do some exposition to. Well, considering she was on the basketball team and there's that stuff with Rumachi in basketball, maybe she's got more relevance, we'll see. Shira's called Kambaro an idiot, which isn't too far from the truth. Again, asks her about Sir Devil. A cheery girl like you, why would you know about that rumor? Well, Kambaro isn't actually that cheery, but clearly you're not close enough to know. Alright, this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to stop recording now. I'm going to record again tomorrow. But yeah, something's just come up, so yeah, I don't really want to talk about it, but we'll see. Yeah, again, I'll be back. Episode so far, good. I'm going to keep saying it. And I remember I'll be around 9:50 for next time. Okay, cool. Sorry, bye-bye. Oh yeah, just because some people asking about a hair reveal on Discord, here's a hair reveal, by the way. This is what my hair looks like, everybody. It's very interesting. It's really not. The reason I wear a hat is because I make thumbnails and because my hair sticks up weird ways while wearing headphones, and also because I don't think it looks very good with said headphones. So if I do this, it's either this or it's a this. Both of which I don't think look very good, in my personal opinion. That's the only reason I don't wear a hat. Yeah, this is absolutely like bald cam right now. We don't like this. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Rightio, and we're back again here. Sorry about yesterday, got interrupted very suddenly. Let's just say that. So yeah, I'm about where we were. I think I was around 9:40. So I'm going to continue from there. I've had a little refresh on the first half as well. Basically that opening part with the mother, lots of contradictions in there, into the opening, into the stuff with Augie, and now we're talking with, what was the girl's name again? Start with that H. Anyway, I'm sure I remember. So yeah, just continuing on here. So Kambaro feels some kind of obligation to solving this problem because the words devil and solve your problems are involved. This relates to her previous stuff that she had going on, of course. As well, a lot into the opening part with the god and the devil dichotomy, I guess you would say. Yeah, she relates herself to maybe Sir Devil. Maybe she's been doing it during her sleep, similar to what happened during her initial arc. Again, there's some, I guess, not very justifiable level of paranoia because of this. But I mean, that's from somebody that isn't close to the situation. Of course, if that has happened to you in the past and you're doing relatively evil things during your sleep, of course you're going to take precautions and think that when something similar may happen, that maybe you're involved again. So Sir Devil doesn't do anything that goes too far. We dive into this a little bit later with Numachi as well, where there's obviously a limit to solving said problems, but seemingly we're solving a problem for Kambaro at the end of the episode that seemed pretty unreasonable. So again, some trickery afoot, some supernatural stuff. I think Augie here is playing into a bit of Kambaru's fear that she may be this Sir Devil, giving her that extra push to make sure and like focus and hone in on the situation. Of course, there's some kind of string pulling situation happening here, right? This has to happen for certain reasons that Augie wants, right? And again, I'm not privy to that right now. Further evidenced by Augie saying it's a girl around high school age, of course Kambaro is going to suspect herself. She isn't just calling herself a devil, she may actually be one. Some kind of legitimacy to what she's doing, and I'm sure we're going to dive into the whole devil god stuff later on with Numachi. Further into this arc. This was a very striking moment as well. We're on the basketball court, the shadows are growing longer as we continue this conversation. Almost like a spotlight, sinister feeling, investigative feeling, I guess, as well. Yeah, lots of stuff to dive into here. One character is center frame, the other one's just off center. Yeah, some stuff here for sure. Then this part's weird, right? We kind of flash back to the scene where she's having that conversation, and Kambaro mentions Araragi-senpai, and all the girls are frothing over Araragi-senpai. That's a new one, I think, right? The legendary Araragi-senpai. Okay, has something happened between last time we saw Araragi at school and now? Something that would result in him being legendary. It's a very weird one, actually. Something truly romantic that maybe got all the girls interested. I don't know. Either way, Kambaru wasn't privy to it, so sure. Yeah, we tap into Karen here a little bit, kind of just, checking in. She's obviously moved up to the next stage of schooling, has she? Anyway, I'm not quite sure on ages there, but she's still doing the whole the whole fire sister justice debacle, I guess you'd say. Essentially, she's on standby waiting for more news about the devil. They're aware. Tsukihi's like investigating. They're figuring some stuff out. But it seems like nobody's been hurt yet. Yet, emphasis on yet. So it's not as much of a concern as it was last time during summer vacation, that being Nisimonogatari. Found it weird that she's stretching on Araragi's bed. Thought that was a bit suspect, but sure, go off. There's no validity given to Kambaru's, I guess, assertion that the devil may be actually real. It's laughed off even. There's no such thing in devils, don't believe in monsters. Well, it seems like whatever power that Numachi has is very, very real. So, may not be a devil, but it does have some tangible quality to it based on the evidence we see at the end of the episode. There was some small aside there about Araragi, I think. Let me reread that again. Yeah, what? Something about nail clippers or something? Okay. So there are 3 ways to contact this devil because Kambaru wants to go investigate. 1 is there's a letter. Most people write a letter. 2 is that you call. A sizable amount of people will call, but nobody except the exceptions, like Kambaru, actually go and see them. And they're separated into difficulty, almost like you're making an extra effort to go out and actually see them. Probably something in that based on the rest of the show and its treatment of effort. Now, we use this different art style when explaining this process, probably unique to anything else we've seen in the show so far. Definitely like cardboardy, I guess, paper-esque, kind of scrunched up texture to the background there, and almost like strings, very tangible quality to the scene. It's nice. I don't really know why it's here, but sure, pop off. Go off, Shaft. And of course, Kambaru opted for the most difficult choice in this regard. I don't really know what that's implying. Maybe she needs to go that extra mile just to make sure that it isn't her. So we're essentially going to a construction site or something. That's why we see all the equipment later on as well. And yeah, it's up to luck whether you'll meet them there, but they do hang out there sometimes. And yeah, this is the imagery we have for it. Long walk out to the middle kind of builds that tension. Who is it? Who is this person over yonder? And of course, we've seen the opening, so I had my suspicions, and it turns out that they were true. It is Numachi Roka, and that is the name connecting to the Kaiki stuff as well. Yeah, and we go into a little bit of what I was talking about before, just kind of the rarity of people picking the way they talk to the devil, or Sir Devil, I guess we're calling them. Yeah, really emphasizing this rarity point with, hey, the 11th person, right? You're not even factored in. This is almost the first time this has happened, right? I've only met that 11th person twice so far, people with really serious stuff going on, then I hand them off to, Child Protective Services or the police or anything like that, right? You seem to be something else, though, Kambaru Saruga-san. Kambaru Saruga-san, correct me if I'm wrong, it is putting particular emphasis on, like, not being close. It's extremely separate. There's no warmness there, I don't think, right? And it's a specific choice by Numachi here, I think based on whatever falling out they may have had in the past. Again, complete speculation based off the opening. That could be completely wrong. You'd remembered my name though, right? Like there's some surprise there. Numachi Roka-san straight back at her as well. Get a little bit of context here. She was a basketball player, kind of Kambaru's rival in a way, right? Actually, no, I stand corrected. More than simply a rival, she was like an arch enemy. Was she? Because based on the opening, I don't know. It did seem like it was a little bit warmer than arch enemies. I don't know. I don't remember ever having lost against her, but I never truly won either. Kind of equals in that way, I guess we're trying to say. Where Kambaru was the offensive player and Numachi was the defensive player. Okay. Again, I don't watch much basketball, so I can't talk to the validity of the tactics here. I guess you do have people that play defense and offense. The two are also kind of linked through their injuries. We know about Kambaru's, of course, which again gives me some thoughts into what her leg may be. Is it reflecting Kambaru in that way? But yeah, they've both got injuries. They've both since quit basketball, right? And yeah, they're kind of mirroring each other, right? In our last middle school tournament, Numachi badly hurt her left leg during the match right before she would have faced us. She was forced to retire. And this has flung her into a bit of a depressive episode, I guess you would say, right? Kind of taking away that side of her personality, something she probably really liked. To the point where it's kind of even ruined her life. She's not going to school, she flunked the entrance exam, she's just kind of vibing and focusing on other people's worries. Just trying to internalize a lot of that, huh? And then this creates the link in our head. It's like, oh, well, maybe you're doing this Sir Devil thing as a job, right? You're technically call yourself unemployed. Is this what you're doing? It's like, no, there's no monetary gain to any of this. I just want to hear people suffer, or not suffer, or hear their worries. Know that other people are worried as well as me, right? That's kind of comforting, I guess. Kanbara makes the connection that it's almost like Araragi senpai not asking for anything in return for helping. I get the feeling it's not as noble as that, and Numachi only explains her process after pushed a little bit by Kanbara here. She's clearly been doing this for a long time, potentially under different names even, she implies. She isn't doing it for any greater societal good, right? For any, utility there. She's doing it solely for herself. I hear stories of people that are worried and stuff, right? And I think, good. Many people are just as miserable as I am. Some are even more so, and that's comforting. That's kind of fucked up, right? That's an extremely warped view of the world, right? If she's being completely legitimate here. I do have to shout out her character design as well. I think it is pretty strong for how simple it is. I think the kind of half tucked in shirt and the jacket and the crutch are doing a lot for it as well, rather than the, I guess you would call it, simple face. There's a lot going on in the eyes though, the kind of hair drifting down to. It's quite good. It's quite nice. I've never seen this character before, which is surprising to me. It's happened a couple times in Monogatari, right? Where I was like, okay, I'm aware of what Senjugahara looks like, and I'm aware of what Hachikuji looks like before seeing them in the show, but sometimes characters like Gai Nezuko just pop out of nowhere, and I'm like, I've never seen this person before, and this is one of the similar case, I guess. So for years, she's been keeping these phone calls, keeping these letters, collecting people's misery, and kind of the amount of time, I guess, the amount of times that this has happened, emphasized by the visuals here, a load of again, I didn't really like land movers, I guess we'll call them. It isn't exactly a healthy hobby. Kambaro is right. And we get this kind of visual here, just like drifting closer, right? Before we get to a bit of a climactic moment when we approach each other. She's not a basketball player anymore, she's a counselor. I also like how Kambaro mentions, weren't your screens like harder than this anyway? More aggressive? In reference to her playing days. Clearly they remember each other, right? And yeah, Slapu. Big old slap. Leaves a welt too. Okay, so we go for that slap into the arm on the shoulder into the other touch that happens a little bit later in the scene as well. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, but there's clearly something there with the touch of one another. Numachi Roka keeps emphasizing that not to take this very seriously, right? Do you think anybody who comes to me is really that bad off? They're all teenagers. We've just gone through Koi Monogatari. Do they really have problems that are actually that bad? Not really. And if they are really bad problems, then I pass them immediately off to the proper people. I mean, right now, the worst you could say that she's doing is just kind of being a sticky beak, right? I may be laughing to myself deep inside, but it does no overall damage to their actual situation. So, in that way, I'm kind of benefiting, nobody else is benefiting. Where's the problem, right? Or nobody else is losing anything, I guess I'd say. Kambaru seems to take issue with laughing on the inside, though, at people's serious problems. Numachi Roka says that she doesn't do anything. She merely just listens, right? She does nothing to help them, no action there. However, at the end of the day, at the end of the episode, we see that a problem has been solved. Somebody has been helped in a clearly supernatural way. And again, she wouldn't be gaining this notoriety if her stuff didn't work. There is some trickery afoot. And then, yeah, the hand moves. Interesting movement for sure. When pressed, why she still has this notoriety as somebody that actually helps. Time alone is enough to resolve what they're worrying about generally. That's how little she regards it. We get the visual right here as well, where you're sitting up the top, and Kambara is kind of sinking in the sand down below. Kind of adding to this tense nature of the scene, I guess I would say, right? Also, with the construction site motif we have as well, sand would make sense, especially this kind of rock structure as well, almost like a quarry. Yeah, sometimes all they need to hear is that I'll take care of the problem and it's okay. Kambaro pleads, isn't that just running away? Aren't you just drawing their attention away from their actual problem and not, again, providing any amount of utility? And yeah, Numachi sticking to her guns, what's wrong with running? Most problems in the world can be solved by running. I mean, it doesn't solve them, right? It just represses, delays, you could say. I think by the end of this, we're going to see one of two things. Either Numachi doubles down and is villainous in some way, I guess you could say, and needs to be put a stop to by the end of the arc, or we're going to have some amount of change of heart about her ethics right now and kind of a redemptive story back to how she used to be potentially. We'll see. We see Kambaro visually further sinking in the sand here, not gaining any traction in the argument, I guess. Kambaro relates this to her own personal situation. If back in the day, instead of trying to solve my problem and going to this arm here, this devilish arm, right? And instead I just followed Numachi's advice, right? Just simply running away, then I wouldn't have hurt anybody, right? Starting to see some value in potentially Numachi Roka's teachings, I guess you could say, philosophy, ethics. And this whole time just grabbing on that titty, maybe again raising the tension in the scene. So I'm wondering if this personal touch to it is maybe the supernatural connection, the thing that takes away the arm. Again, we it's so early in the arc to be talking about stuff like this. I should probably just quit for now. So what are you gonna do, Kambaru? Go home. I mean, you're weird. Your hobbies are weird, but it doesn't look like you're making anyone's life worse. So go off, I guess. I'm gonna leave. Kind of this reaction in the eyes from Numachi Roka, almost like she expected Kambaro to double down and be a bit more of a hero here, and that's not what happens. I'm glad you understand, I don't understand at all, and then she walks away backwards, maintaining the eye contact, kind of the reversal of the entry to the scene. I want to see you on the court again, but that's a wish of ours that'll never happen. Sometimes life will be a problem. Then won't time also solve that problem, right? Oh, there's definitely going to be some kind of reconciliation here, right? Definitely. I don't know why I'm feeling this arc super hard. I think it's really, really cool so far. And this is going into one of my favorite sequences I remember from the episode yesterday. The purples, the pinks, the yellows of the sunset, and just kind of reflecting on the conversation that she had with Roka. Kambaro reflects, thinking that she's pretty happy that it isn't actually her that's been this Sir Devil the entire time. Will a day come when I can sleep without taping my arm to the wall? Maybe that's your worry, right? Maybe a day will come where I don't have to be so paranoid about this, when I can trust in the devil a little bit, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. The devil was seemingly gone, right? The monkey on your back, for lack of a better term. We're going to see where it goes. An old acquaintance of mine, a girl, fondled my breasts. Count me in. I'm imagining that's Araragi based on the rest of what has been going on in the story, right? That just makes sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong there. We don't really get a really good look or a translated look at who the two line is there. Then the mom pops off with a bit more of a absolutely garbage advice. Don't worry about anything, ever. Worrying is bad. People that pursue life without thinking usually get much further, right? Without thinking about worrying about the next step and that kind of thing, just pursuing it, right? It's not exactly applicable to every situation, I don't think, Mom. If you have time to think, act. If you don't take the initiative, don't regret it. Sure, and we get lots of flowers in the stream, lots of flowers in the water as our visual here. Again, is this the dreams of Kambaru, right? Is this what she's thinking back on, the old lessons of her mother? I guess that's what we're doing when we bring the letterboxing in a little bit, and there's the mother monologue, I guess. I'll go through this scene fairly quickly. It plays out much similar to the morning previous. We see the nail clippers, and we go to use the nail clippers, and shock and horror, the nail clippers are going to work on my hand now, because it's a real human hand, and my devil hand is gone. The monkey's paw, whatever we want to call it, right? It's only quick at first, but you see the tool obviously in this hand and then this hand being cut, and it's like, oh, that's not how it should be at all. And yeah, that's your clue into what has happened. The devil hand reverted back to a human hand. And yeah, now we have an ED to look at as well. So yeah, this one's kind of characterized by a little bit more of this 3D, almost claymation-esque stuff. Yeah, it's definitely got a physical presence. Look at that screw in the middle there. The song from memory is quite good, but I'm going to re-listen to it here. Clearly still got that same ED art style that we normally get. I like how it says 89 seconds up the top. I've noticed that in a couple of the EDs, kind of denoting its length temporally, I guess. I was trying to sound smart, but ended up sounding dumb. I'll move my camera up again and read these lyrics a little bit. There's no room for excuses when my heart is constantly being broken. At the expense of my youthful dreams, you reach out a helping hand. Sure. Yeah, we kind of got like circular, long ways, like a train, like different directions, black and white, film grain, lots of different ideas, right? The film grain, I think I said it was almost like a movie reel during the reaction, and that's still kind of my opinion, I guess. My dim loneliness abruptly brightened when our two mishappen lights drew closer and closer. Two characters drifting closer and closer. Okay, maybe that. Got some Kambaru running there in the background too. Lots of different images kind of projected onto these things, right? The song's quite nice. Again, you're kind of pretty classic rock fare for it. Nothing too unique, but propulsive. Gets you going, gets you in your feels a little bit. I can see it growing on me. The haze that arose from the waterfront will one day scatter away like petals. Petals? Flowers? I feel a pain that no one can heal, and excuses only make it worse. Again, these are pretty broad. The EDs have generally been, but you'd have to equate it to Kambaru's situation, right? At least if you want to call it a farewell gift, I want our paths to cross again by chance. I will remember my pain until it all fades away. Sure. That's, again, very broad. You can almost, you talk to that to the childhood trauma stuff, as well as the whole devil hand stuff, as well as any number of other things as well. And yeah, I guess we'll call it there, kind of ending on a very similar frame to the opening frame of the opening as well. One of the weirder parts here was no preview as well. I don't know what that's about. Was it about kind of our broadcast style? So this wouldn't have been airing on TV, correct me if I'm wrong. Was this something released differently somehow? Please elaborate. I'm really unsure. But yeah, no preview. And yeah, that's the end of the episode. So yeah, if I didn't make it clear enough, I'm super, super jazzed about this first episode. I recorded for way too long talking about it even. So yeah, looking forward to editing that tonight. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, it was really, really good. I don't know how else to say it. I'm really interested to see where we go next. I think there's a lot of interesting things at play. I think Kambaru is an interesting character. We see almost a different Kambaru here than we see around Araragi, kind of their lack of presence being emphasized through her, I guess, somber demeanor, I guess you would say, right? She's a bit quieter. She's not as... she's not Kambaru right now for mine. Are we going to see a bit more of that come out as we maybe progress this relationship between her and Namachi Roka a little bit more? I don't know. We'll see. Pure speculation at this point, but I'd imagine that's where we're going. Namachi Roka, at the very least, seems to be an important character to the arc. And yeah, Augie always in the background, pulling the strings and doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, all in all, just a great episode. Few aesthetic stuff that I highlighted that was really good about it, as well as, yeah, just an intriguing start. Some great ideas here. Probably my favorite opening so far, maybe. It is a killer opening. And yeah, I don't have much else to say. 2 thumbs up. Really, really good. Just my shield stuff before I leave. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I can do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you would like me to follow you back. The Discord, join Discord, love Discord, Discord. And yeah, tune in for more Hanamonogatari next week. Maybe a little bit weird with Easter, but we'll get something out there, I think. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Catch you again next week. Peace out, I guess.